Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Lisa and Lydia, the LB show, once again here. The guys are not around. We're loving it.
Girls only.
Girls only here as we're about to kick off the weekend. It is October 20th, Friday morning. Before we jump into your weekend forecast, every time we go on, we like to remind you everywhere you can find us, which is actually a lot of places, besides live on air on WDAY every morning, 5 to 7 a.m. You can check out our Inform YouTube channel. Of course, we do this every weekday morning, and then it stays on your feed. So live around 8 or anytime on your feed, and then we make it into a podcast. You can find that at inform.com/podcast and look for the Inform Minute. And everybody wants to know, especially going into the weekend, what's the weather looking like?
Probably the last pretty nice weekend at that. So today, 72 is what we're forecasting for Fargo. We'll see some sunshine. It's a beautiful sunrise right now. My tower cams are just glowing. We'll end up at about 72, which I think will be the last 70s of the year. It's always hard to put that finality on something like this, but with the big pattern change next week, I feel pretty confident. I feel pretty okay with saying this is probably the last 70s of the year.
But it's the 20th of October.
It is. We're living on borrowed time at this point.
Absolutely.
So do enjoy it. Get outside. Go to a pumpkin patch playground. Whatever tickles your fancy. Get outside today because you should enjoy it. Now, the only downfall today is that the wind will be picking up. There's a cold front sweeping across. It'll change the wind around to the northwest. So that happens depending on where you are. It happens first out to the west and then eventually onto the Minnesota side. Once you get that northwest turn to your wind, you're going to see gusts anywhere from 35 to 45 miles an hour. So some nasty wind. I really think that holds off in the Fargo area until closer to about supper time. Okay. So if you want to head out to a patio lunch today, you shouldn't have to, hold down the napkins and everything. The wind should still be fairly calm at that point. It's about supper time where those winds will be pretty gusty and nasty. So that being said, do expect some breezy high school football games tonight.
Earlier you mentioned, you're feeling for the kickers.
Yes, yeah, they might have a little extra or an extra push, depending on how the field is orientated and which end of the field you're on at that time. Yeah, so some strong winds. The wind stays up overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. Breezy still for early tailgating. The wind will start to settle down while you're out there in the Fargo Dome parking lot for tomorrow for the Bison game. Tomorrow will be cooler thanks to the cold front. They kind of just go hand in hand. We're still looking at upper 50s though, so not terribly cold. Right. Just a little bit cooler. Wind settling down in a mostly cloudy sky for tomorrow. Sunday and Monday both look lovely. Not much for wind, partly cloudy, and temps in the lower to mid 60s. Then things start to change, and we'll be in the 50s by about Tuesday, Wednesday, 40s closer to the end of next week, and I do have 30s for highs by next weekend. Much colder tailgating next weekend.
That's it. Yeah, our lows right now are becoming our highs.
Yeah, we'll do that whole flip that I like to call it. Yeah, so big changes coming. There are chances for precip next week, whether it be rain or snow. That's possible with temperatures dropping. I don't expect big piles of snow by any means. We still have warm ground temperatures. Our temps will be close to the freezing point, so I'm not expecting a big snowmageddon yet. But it's possible we could see a little snow next week. Hard to pin down exactly when, where, those sorts of things just yet, because I think it's close to about 10 days away still.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm very confident in the temperature drop. So
get your warm coat out.
Yeah.
Whether we're talking about snow or just cold temperatures. It's a change. More than just sweater weather.
Yes, this is thicker than sweater weather. This is parka weather by the time we get to about 10 days from now. So enjoy the next couple of days until about Monday, and then things will start to change.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Lydia. We'll talk about the Friday night football games and the tailgating. That's going to be happening here in just a couple of minutes. But first, I want to get to a story that we broke on First News this morning. One person was arrested overnight following a crash that is now believed to be alcohol-related. It happened right around 2 o'clock on Broadway. Police say 22-year-old Nathan Eidenshank sideswiped a parked car and ended up rolling his own vehicle. When we got there, the video we had this morning, you could see the car on its side. He was hurt, but he is expected to recover. He was arrested for driving under the influence. And right now, Fargo police are still investigating after a bomb scare in downtown Fargo. Police and the Red River Valley Bomb Squad responded to a report of a potential improvised explosive device just after noon yesterday. Maybe you got the alert to shelter in place or the warning to stay away from that area. I did hear from a lot of people asking what was going on. Right around noon, everything was locked down. What they found was, they're saying it was either a pressure cooker or a rice cooker, but it was found just feet from the intersection of Broadway and Main Avenue. They determined it was not an explosive, but it took about an hour for the bomb squad to do their thing. And right now, they're still trying to figure out where it came from. So they know it was not a bomb, but they still don't know why it was there and where it came from. So we'll continue tracking that story for you and let you know any updates. Right now, advocates are pushing North Dakota lawmakers to use next week's special session to pass some legislation that would protect the wild horses in Theodore Roosevelt National Park. Now, as we've been reporting, that special session was called to pass important budget legislation that the North Dakota Supreme Court struck down as unconstitutional. But now the park just announced that public comments to help draft some new legislation to protect the horses has been extended to November 24th. This is a story that's been ongoing. If you'd like to read more on this story, the current draft, comment yourself, all that kind of stuff, visit parkplanning.nps.gov and just search for the Theodore Roosevelt National Park. Today, Representative Jim Jordan faces a third vote in his bid for Speaker of the House. The Ohio Republican spent most of yesterday trying to sway the holdouts to support his bid, but numerous members of the GOP are now talking about other options. Some in the House, including former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, supports boosting interim Speaker Patrick McHenry's power in the meantime, but that would require Democratic backing. But be sure to join us for our evening newscast, and we'll have an update on the vote that is expected to happen today. This morning, we now know the U.S. Army private who fled to North Korea is being held in a pretrial detention after being officially charged in the case. 23-year-old Travis King was charged with 8 counts by the U.S. Army with desertion and other crimes as well. In September, King was released from North Korean custody and returned to the U.S. All right, let's talk some sports. It's a big day for hockey fans as one of the biggest hockey rivalries will hit the ice in Grand Forks tonight. The Gophers and the Fighting Hawks. Actually, 2 games this weekend at the Ralph. One today, another tomorrow. The puck drops at 7:07 tonight. Tomorrow's game a little bit earlier. The puck drops at 6:07. And tonight, it's WDAY's last regular season game of the week. The Valley City Highliners will take on the Fargo South Bruins. That game is going to be aired on WDAY Extra starting at 7 tonight. We're also going to be streaming it on WDAY Plus. The Bison are hoping to bounce back this weekend after a tough couple of games. This morning, they're ranked number 15 in the FCS coaches poll, which is somewhat unfamiliar territory for the Bison. They're hopefully going to start their climb by hosting Western Illinois tomorrow at the Dome. The Leathernecks have yet to win a game this year. You can watch our live pregame show. I'm sure they're going to be talking about last week and looking forward to this week as well. That's at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Game coverage then starts at 2:20, kickoff at 2:30. And, okay, we're talking Fighting Hawks. Hockey, the football team is also going to be playing this weekend. And right now, they're ranked at number 9 in the coaches poll. Of course, they're hoping to build on their dominating win over the Bison last week. They play Northern Iowa tomorrow. Of course, we'll have highlights of both the Bison and the Fighting Hawks on our evening newscasts tomorrow. Hot Mike with Dom Izzo. He's going to be covering all of this plus so much more. It's on 9 to 11 on WDAY Extra and Inform.com. It's a huge Football Friday edition as the weekend is here. The top passing quarterback in the country at any level is from MSU Moorhead. So you'll get a chance to meet Jack Strand of the Dragons. Plus, the North Dakota High School football playoffs will include the Horace Hawks this year. Dom's going to talk about how the Hawks became winners in just their second varsity season. Pretty big story coming out of West Fargo. Hot Mike coming up here, 9 to 11 on WDAY Extra. And remember, right now is a great time to get your Inform.com subscription. All the news, weather, sports headlines that we're talking about you can find in one place. 99 cents a month for your first 3 months. Just go to Inform.com/subscribe to check it out. Our next newscast here on this Friday morning starting at 11, but we have you covered this afternoon as well. 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10. Have a great weekend, everyone.